The morning the announcement was made, Mia felt something unusual in the air, an undercurrent of tension that didn't belong to an ordinary workday. She had spent nearly a decade building her reputation inside this company, becoming the reliable force everyone counted on. Loyalty, consistency, resilience, qualities she believed still meant something in the corporate world. But as she walked toward the entrance of the sleek glass building, she noticed employees gathered in small, uncertain clusters. Whispered conversations, nervous glances, the kind of quiet panic people try to hide but never quite succeed at, these were signs Mia had learned to read. Something significant was unfolding behind the surface. Within the hour, leadership delivered the news. A strategic restructuring. The phrase was presented with polished confidence, but everyone in the room knew what it really meant. Restructuring was just a corporate euphemism, cold, vague, and sharp enough to pierce through job security like a blade. Departments would be realigned, roles evaluated, and responsibilities redistributed. None of these words offered clarity. They only fed anxiety. Mia sat still, her hands folded neatly, absorbing each sentence without flinching. She had survived reorganizations before. Her client relationships were strong, her performance undeniable. If anything, she assumed she'd be helping others navigate the turbulence. But after the meeting, her manager approached her with a smile that didn't match the heaviness in his eyes. "Mia," he began gently, "we'll be assigning you something new. You'll be training a new team member over the next few weeks. Someone who'll be joining your department soon." At first, it sounded harmless, she had trained people before. But the timing felt wrong. "Is this part of the restructuring?" she asked. He hesitated, just for a second, before replying. "Not exactly. We just want the newcomer to learn from the best." It should have felt flattering. Instead, it felt rehearsed. As Mia returned to her desk, her instincts sharpened. Conversations quieted when she walked by. A few coworkers avoided making eye contact. It was subtle, but unmistakable. People knew more than they were saying. Still, Mia didn't break. She didn't question her worth, nor did she allow panic to cloud her judgment. She simply observed, listened, and waited. She had survived too many corporate storms to get swept away by this one. What she didn't realize yet was simple, devastating, and inevitable. The new team members she was assigned to train would not be joining her team. They would be replacing her. And this restructuring wouldn't end her career, it would ignite a transformation she never anticipated. 2 days later, Mia finally met the person she had been assigned to train. A young man, barely a few years into his career, walked into the office with a nervous smile plastered across his face. His posture was eager, almost apologetic, as if he sensed that he was stepping into territory he didn't fully understand. "Mia? It's great to meet you," he said, offering a handshake with more enthusiasm than confidence. "I've heard a lot about your work." She studied him for a moment. Eager, but uneasy. Qualified, but not seasoned. Someone who had no idea what role he had truly been hired to play. She gave him a polite smile and gestured to the desk beside hers. "Well," she said, "let's get started." Training someone wasn't difficult for Mia. She was methodical, patient, and used to mentoring new hires. But this time, something beneath the surface felt off. Throughout the day, subtle hints slipped through the cracks. He kept referring to tasks she normally handled exclusively. He asked questions about her entire client portfolio, not just the parts she was assigned to train on. And when she casually asked, "What position were you officially hired for?" he hesitated. His eyes flickered, searching for a safe answer. Management just said I'll be taking on a role similar to yours." Similar. Not supporting. Not assisting. Replacing. That was the moment the truth crystallized. Her company, after years of loyalty, late nights, and sacrifices, had decided she was too expensive. They wanted someone cheaper. Someone moldable. Someone who didn't remember a time before constant restructuring. Mia felt a familiar sting, not shock, but disappointment. At this point in her career, Corporate betrayal wasn't unexpected, but it still hurt to witness it unfold in real time. Still, she didn't react. Not a change in her voice. Not a hint of anger in her expression. Just steady, calm professionalism. "All right," she said, her tone smooth and controlled. "Let's walk through the onboarding system." But behind that calm exterior, a storm was building. Not one of despair, Mia was done with feeling invisible. This storm carried clarity, direction, and a plan. That evening, she didn't go home defeated like they expected. She opened her laptop, pulled up her private contact list, and drafted a message to a competitor who had once attempted to recruit her. "I believe the timing may now be right for a conversation." Within minutes, she received a reply. "We've been waiting for this message. Let's talk tomorrow." While the company plotted her exit in secrecy, Mia quietly set the stage for her own rise. And though she would continue training her replacement with perfect professionalism, she had already decided she would not be there when he finished learning. The next morning, Mia arrived earlier than usual, before the fluorescent lights hummed awake, before the office chatter filled the hallways. She needed space. Silence. Time to think. Her replacement, Evan, arrived a bit later, almost jogging to his desk with the enthusiasm of someone who still believed corporate promises. He apologized for being late, even though he wasn't. Mia waved it off. "No worries. Let's get started." She watched him closely as he worked. He took notes on everything, too eagerly. Not the curiosity of a beginner, but the urgency of someone preparing to take over a role that wasn't meant to be vacant yet. His questions were revealing. "How do you handle the renewal negotiations for your largest accounts? What do you say when clients push back on pricing? Do you have any shortcuts for managing client escalations? What exactly do the senior partners expect in the quarterly presentations?" "Not my. Your." That word slipped out more than once. He didn't even notice. But Mia did. She answered every question with precision, never letting emotion slip into her tone. She didn't blame him. He was just another pawn in a corporate structure that celebrated cost-cutting more than loyalty. Yet, something about Evan tugged at her empathy. He wasn't malicious, just uninformed. He truly didn't know the chair he was eagerly climbing into was still occupied. Midday, as they reviewed a major client account, he hesitated before asking, "I hope you don't mind me saying this, but management implied you might be moving into a different role soon." There it was. The confirmation. The final piece. Mia held her breath for half a second, just long enough to process the sting, then gave him a calm, composed smile. "Ah. I see." Evan swallowed, clearly uncomfortable. I didn't want you to be blindsided." She nodded, appreciating his honesty, even if it arrived wrapped in corporate betrayal. "You're doing fine," she said. "Focus on learning the systems." But in her mind, the gears were turning. That afternoon, Mia stepped outside for a call with the competitor's senior director, the one who had courted her for years. His voice came through sharp and confident. "Mia, we know what you're capable of. If you're ready to move, we're prepared to match your salary and add a leadership role." She smiled with genuine, but restrained. "What about bringing over my accounts?" "If they're willing," he said without hesitation, "we'll welcome all of them." That was the missing piece. Her company didn't just underestimate her, they underestimated her relationships. Clients didn't stay because of the brand. They stayed because of her. Her tone dropped into something crisp and decisive. "Prepare the paperwork. I'll be ready once the training is complete." Over the next 2 weeks, Mia executed her plan with flawless precision. She trained Evan thoroughly, professionally, giving the company exactly what they asked of her. They expected her to break, to lash out, to cling to the job. She did the opposite. She worked calmly, efficiently. She answered emails promptly and attended meetings without a single disruption. Not a hint of rebellion. not an ounce of detectable frustration. Because the strongest moves are made in silence. Her coworkers whispered, confused by the sudden changes in structure. Some suspected cuts. Some sensed something was wrong. But Mia kept her composure like a seasoned strategist. While she taught Evan how to manage accounts, she prepared her exit portfolio. While she explained renewal cycles, she finalized negotiations with her new employer. While she demonstrated conflict resolution scripts, she wrote elegant, airtight emails to each of her top clients. Would you like to continue working with me if I transition to a new firm? Every one of them responded with the same sentiment. Where you go, we go. There was no anger left inside her. Only clarity. She knew exactly what she was about to do. And when the day finally arrived, the last day of training, Mia felt an unexpected sense of peace. Before Evan left, he turned to her, awkward yet sincere. I just want to say, I know they haven't treated you fairly. And I'm sorry if I'm part of that. But thank you for being patient with me. Mia looked at him with professional calm. You're not the problem, Evan. Systems are. As he left the room, she opened her laptop and pulled up the resignation letter she had written days before, a letter that was concise, professional, and devastatingly timed. Just 2 sentences. Effective immediately, I resign my position. My accounts have been notified of my transition to a new firm. Send. A quiet click. A simple act. Yet the impact would ripple across the entire company. And Mia, the calm, precise, and unbreakable, closed her laptop knowing the storm she unleashed was only beginning. The moment Mia hit send, the air around her shifted, subtle yet undeniable. It was the kind of stillness that comes right before a storm breaks across the sky. Inside the office, nothing appeared different at first. People typed. Phones rang. Coffee machines hissed. But within minutes, a chain reaction began unfolding behind closed doors. In the executive suite, her resignation email landed in 3 inboxes simultaneously: the CEO, HR director, and head of operations. It was short, clean, irrefutable. The kind of message that left no room for negotiation. The first response was confusion. Then disbelief. Then panic. Because attached to her resignation was a sentence no one expected. All primary clients under my portfolio have chosen to transition with me. That line detonated like a grenade in a boardroom. Across the office, Mia gathered her things with a calm grace, one hand sliding notebooks into her bag, the other unplugging her laptop. Not hurried, not emotional. Just finished. Her coworkers noticed her movements and froze. One of them stepped forward. Mia, are you leaving? She offered a small, composed nod. Yes. Effective today. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. In their company, people didn't leave quietly. They left in chaos, after layoffs, after arguments, after burnout. But Mia? She was leaving by choice. And with clients. That was unheard of. Meanwhile, in a conference room on the top floor, the leadership team scrambled. The CEO slammed the resignation letter onto the table. I thought she was training her replacement. The HR director adjusted her glasses. She did, sir. Perfectly, according to all reports. That's not the point, he snapped. She walked out with millions in accounts. The head of operations leaned forward, pale. Sir, our largest contracts are tied to her, not us. She handled relationships personally. Those clients trusted her more than the brand. Silence. Painful silence. Then, find out where she's going. Immediately. But by the time they dug through messages, checked LinkedIn, and attempted to call her, it was too late. She had already cut ties. Their final attempt, an urgent email asking her to reconsider, received a simple, polite reply. My decision is final. Thank you for the opportunities. Nothing more. It was the politest way to say, "You didn't value me when you had me." Downstairs, Evan, the replacement, returned from lunch to find the entire floor buzzing. He spotted Mia at her desk, ready to leave, and rushed toward her. "You're resigning?" he asked, wide-eyed. "Mia, I didn't know this was happening. I swear, they told me." She held up a hand gently. "I know. This wasn't your doing." He exhaled, relieved, then worried again. "What happens now?" She gave him a measured look. "You'll be fine, Evan. But the company, they're about to feel the consequences of their choices." He swallowed, understanding the weight of that statement. He wasn't just inheriting a workload. He was inheriting a crisis. And for the first time, he realized the job he had been so excited to step into might now be a sinking ship. As Mia walked toward the elevator, her badge clipped to her bag, several coworkers stood to applaud her, not loudly, not theatrically, just enough to show respect. Because everyone knew. She didn't lose a battle. She won one. Quietly. Strategically. Elegantly. When the elevator doors closed, she felt a wave of relief. Not the triumphant kind, but the kind that comes from letting go of something heavy you've carried for far too long. She stepped out into the afternoon sun, brighter, warmer, gentler than the fluorescent lights she was leaving behind. In her pocket, her phone buzzed. A message from the competitor's CEO. "Welcome aboard, Mia. Your office is ready." Followed by another message. From one of her largest clients. "Thank you for bringing us with you. We trust you completely." She smiled, a slow, quiet smile, one that came from knowing she had rebuilt her future with her own hands. No theatrics. No revenge. Just power reclaimed. Behind her, the building she once poured everything into now shook under the weight of its own decisions. But Mia? She walked forward, free. While Mia stepped into her new chapter with quiet confidence, the building she left behind descended into chaos, swift, loud, and unavoidable. Inside the 11th floor boardroom, a meeting was called so abruptly that some executives arrived still clutching their lunch. The CEO stood at the head of the table, red-faced and speechless, holding a stack of printed reports that trembled in his hands. "We have a problem," he finally said. Everyone already knew. But hearing it aloud made the room feel smaller. The first blow, lost revenue. The analytics screen flickered to life, revealing numbers that would haunt the company for years. 6 major accounts gone. 2 medium accounts pending exit. Projected quarterly revenue, down 31%. Client satisfaction score, catastrophic drop. The CFO rubbed his temples. This isn't just a dip. This is structural damage. The CEO glared at him. Well, maybe if we hadn't driven out the person who held all those relationships. A tense silence followed. Nobody answered. Nobody had to. Everyone knew the truth. They had traded experience for cost-cutting. And now the cost was coming due. The second blow, client emails. Within an hour, the client relations hotline lit up like a Christmas tree. Clients weren't confused. They weren't upset. They were furious. One after another, messages poured in. "We only stayed because of Mia. She handled everything personally. We don't trust anyone else to take over. You should have valued her more. We're moving with her." The COO stared at his tablet in disbelief. She didn't even ask them to leave. They left because they wanted to follow her. The HR director, suddenly pale, whispered, "You can't replace loyalty with a cheaper salary. It never works." It was a line the entire leadership team would hear repeated for months. The third blow, employee fallout. What leadership hadn't anticipated was the ripple effect inside the company. Rumors spread fast. Mia left. She took her accounts. She found a better place. Employees began to reconsider their own futures. Whispers echoed across cubicles. "I'm updating my resume. If they can replace someone like Mia, what chance do we have? This place used to care, not anymore. Productivity dropped. Sick days increased. Turnover risk skyrocketed. In the HR dashboard, a quiet storm was building, one resignation at a time. Meanwhile, Evan faces reality. On the floor below, Evan sat at Mia's old desk, staring at the mountain of responsibilities he had inherited. He wasn't smiling now. What he thought would be an exciting promotion suddenly felt like a trap. The biggest accounts he was supposed to manage, gone. The processes Mia had built, now falling apart without her. He looked around desperately for guidance, but the leadership team was too busy panicking upstairs to notice the pressure they had dumped on him. Softly, to himself, he whispered, "I think they played me, too." For the first time, he understood the weight Mia had been carrying, and the brilliance of the way she left. The fourth blow, the board intervenes. By late afternoon, the board of directors demanded an emergency video call. The CEO joined the meeting with a strained voice. A board member cut him off immediately. How did this happen? And why weren't we informed she was training her own replacement? The CEO tried to defend himself, but board members continued. Your restructuring plan has cost us millions. You failed to retain key talent. Our shareholders will not tolerate this. We need a recovery strategy, now. For the first time in his career, the CEO felt truly cornered. Before the call ended, one board member issued a final, brutal warning. Find a way to stop the bleeding, or we'll find someone who can. As the company unravels, the office that once hummed with predictable routine now vibrated with uncertainty. Deadlines were missed. Meetings devolved into blame sessions. Clients demanded emergency calls that no one could answer. The finance team worked late, calculating losses. Every department felt the tremor of Mia's departure. It wasn't that she had been irreplaceable. It was that leadership had never understood her value until she was gone. They had underestimated her. They had dismissed her. And now, they were paying for it, financially, operationally, and reputationally. Outside the building, Mia's phone buzzed again as she stepped into her new office building. A headline notification appeared. Major firm faces sudden client exodus after restructuring decision backfires. She read it once, twice, then slid her phone into her bag. No gloating, no anger, just closure. She wasn't running from the past anymore. She was stepping into a future she built herself. And finally, a future that valued her. While Mia's former company spiraled into emergency meetings and late-night crisis calls, her new chapter started with momentum, quiet at first, then steadily rising like a tide. The moment she entered the competitor's headquarters, the contrast was immediate. Bright spaces, open communication, people who made eye contact, people who listened. A company that valued talent, not just the cheapest option. And for the first time in months, Mia felt something she had nearly forgotten. Possibility. The welcome she never expected. At the reception desk, a woman smiled warmly. "Mia Collins? Right this way. The executive team is waiting for you." Waiting for her. At her previous company, executives barely remembered her name unless they needed something fixed. But here, they treated her as an investment, not a line item. When she entered the conference room, the CEO stood up from his chair. A CEO standing up for her. "We're honored you chose us," he said, extending his hand. "You bring something rare, real trust from clients. And we intend to support you every step of the way." Mia felt her pulse steady. This was what respect looked like. This was what leadership sounded like. On the table was a folder with her name printed in gold lettering. Inside, a personalized onboarding plan, a dedicated support team, a roadmap built around her strengths, a compensation package that proved her value. Her old company had trained her replacement. This one was preparing her ascent. Clients follow with confidence. Over the next few days, client after client sent enthusiastic confirmations. "We're moving with you, Mia. Where you go, we go. You've always been the reason we stayed." Executives at her new company watched the numbers rise and exchanged looks of disbelief and admiration. One senior partner leaned toward her and whispered, "You single-handedly shifted our market position. Not out of arrogance, not out of revenge, but because she had done her job with integrity for years, even when she wasn't appreciated. And now, that integrity became her power, building what she was never allowed to lead." Within weeks, Mia was asked, no, invited, to redesign an entire division. Not because they were desperate, but because they trusted her judgment. The COO approached her with sincerity in his tone. "We want you to create the environment you always wished you'd worked in." That sentence hit her harder than she expected. She had spent years fighting for basic fairness, for processes that made sense, for leadership that wasn't threatened by talent. Now, she was being given the one thing her old company never offered: a voice, a seat at the table, authority. And she used it wisely. She built systems that empowered people. She established mentoring structures. She implemented successful account retention models. While her old company was desperately hiring consultants to figure out what had gone wrong, Mia was architecting success from the ground up, quietly, professionally, effortlessly. Meanwhile, the old company tries to recover. Back at her former workplace, morale bottomed out. Everywhere executives looked, they saw gaps: operational, financial, emotional. The new hire they brought in to replace Mia, Evan, was drowning in responsibilities he wasn't prepared for. Clients who remained demanded answers he didn't have. Team members hesitated to ask him for help because he was already overwhelmed. And leadership? They were too embarrassed to admit their mistake. The CEO issued a memo full of empty optimism. "We are entering an exciting new chapter." Everyone laughed quietly when they read it, because they all knew the chapter was only exciting if you ignored the fire on every page. A market shift begins. 3 months later, industry analysts published a report that shocked everyone except Mia. Her old company's ranking had dropped dramatically. Client confidence plummeted. Their expansion plan was officially delayed. Meanwhile, her new company, the competitor everyone once underestimated, had jumped ahead 3 positions in the market. The catalyst? A woman who was once invisible in a meeting room. Now, investment firms took notice. Recruiters admired her work. Competitors whispered her name in strategy sessions. She had become something her old employer never believed she could be. A force. A leader. A threat. Mia receives an unexpected email. One evening, just as she was packing up her new office, her phone buzzed with an email notification. Sender, CEO, former employer. Subject, "We'd like to discuss an opportunity." She opened it. The message was full of corporate pleasantries, vague apologies, and hints that they wanted her back. They offered a higher salary, a leadership position, more respect and visibility. She sat back in her chair, stunned for only a moment, then amused. They still didn't understand. It was never just about money. It was about dignity. It was about how they treated people. She typed one sentence. "Thank you, but I've already found where I belong." She hit send. And that was it. Her final goodbye. A future she built herself. As she walked out into the cool night air, the city lights reflected in her eyes. She wasn't the woman who stayed silent in meetings anymore. She wasn't the employee waiting for validation that never came. She wasn't someone who allowed others to define her worth. She had reclaimed her story and rewritten her ending. For the first time in years, Mia felt a sense of peace, not the fragile kind, but the deep, steady kind that comes from choosing yourself. Her career hadn't ended. Her career had finally begun. The old company believed the storm would pass, that clients would calm down, that employees would adjust, that revenue would eventually stabilize. They were wrong. Behind polished press releases and forced optimism, the foundation was cracking, quietly at first, then loudly enough for the entire industry to hear. The first major hit, a lost bidding war. 2 months after Mia's departure, the company entered a high-profile bidding competition, something they once dominated with ease. But this time was different. Clients asked specific questions about strategy, execution, communication channels. Questions only someone with Mia's insight could have answered. Evan stumbled through explanations, apologetic and uncertain. Executives tried to back him up, but it was obvious. The team no longer had the expertise needed to compete at that level. When the winners were announced, the result was brutal. Mia's new company secured the deal, and they won by a landslide. It wasn't just a loss. It was a message. The industry had chosen a side, and it wasn't theirs. The second major hit, employee exodus. By now, the staff had noticed something undeniable. Mia was thriving. The company was sinking. Employees quietly studied her career path, her resilience, her poise, the way she turned a dismissal into an opportunity. She became living proof that there was life beyond the office walls. Within weeks, 3 senior analysts resigned. 2 project managers left for competitors. HR received 4 resignation letters in one morning. In exit interviews, one phrase appeared repeatedly. "I'm leaving because you replaced loyalty with a cheaper salary." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The third major hit, investor concerns. Quarterly financial reports looked worse each month. Revenue down. Client retention down. Operational costs up. Administrative turnover rising. Investors who once praised leadership now questioned every decision. During an investor call, one shareholder asked directly, "Did firing the person who managed your largest account save money? Because it appears to have cost millions." The CEO tried to avoid the question, but the silence that followed told everyone the truth. Inside the office, tension becomes routine. Meetings grew hostile. Managers snapped at one another. Middle-tier employees stopped caring. High performers sent out resumes. The workplace culture, once stable, fractured under the weight of blame and denial. People whispered, "If they did this to Mia, what makes us safe?" Leadership has no idea what they're doing. This restructuring destroyed everything. Meanwhile, Evan, the unfortunate symbol of the restructuring, felt more isolated than ever. The workload that Mia once handled gracefully now buried him. Not because he wasn't capable, but because leadership had weaponized him as a cost-saving tool, not a prepared successor. And he finally admitted to himself. Mia didn't abandon the team. The company abandoned her first. The PR disaster. One morning, a news article surfaced online. Industry giant faces client losses after mishandled restructuring. It didn't mention Mia by name, but it didn't need to. Everyone in the industry knew exactly what had happened. The company tried to get ahead of the story with a statement filled with excuses about organizational shifts and new strategic directions. But clients weren't fooled. Competitors weren't fooled. Even employees weren't fooled. The brand that once represented stability now represented incompetence. Meanwhile, Mia's company expands. While chaos consumed her former employer, Mia's new company grew fast. Her clients praised her communication. Her team praised her leadership. The executive board praised her results. Eventually, the CEO asked her into his office. "We're restructuring," he said. "For growth, not cuts. And we want you to lead one of the new divisions." Mia blinked, stunned. "Are you sure? I've only been here a few months." He smiled. "Mia, you don't measure value in time. You measure it in impact. and your impact is undeniable." For a moment, she honestly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She finally understood. When people recognize your worth, you don't have to fight to prove it. Back at her old company, The Breaking Point, a few days later, the CEO held yet another crisis meeting. Attendance was mandatory. Tension was suffocating. He paced the room, furious. "We must regain control. Mia is not the reason we're failing, our processes are." The room fell painfully silent. Everyone knew the truth. It was because of Mia. Or rather, because leadership had never respected the value she brought. Finally, someone from the finance team muttered what none of them dared say. "We didn't just lose an employee. We lost our reputation." The CEO froze. Because deep down, he knew it. And for the first time since Mia resigned, he felt something he thought he'd never experience. Regret. Not for how he treated her, but for the consequences that decision unleashed. Mia, unbothered, unreachable, unstoppable. As her former employer unraveled, Mia enjoyed a quiet cup of coffee on her balcony. A soft breeze. A peaceful morning. A life finally aligned with her worth. Her phone buzzed, a message from her new COO. "Your leadership division is approved. We couldn't be prouder." She smiled. This was her life now. A career built on respect. A company built on integrity. A future built on her own terms. Her old company collapsed because they tried to replace loyalty with cheap labor. Her new company rose because they understood the cost of undervaluing the right person. And Mia? She wasn't thinking about revenge. She wasn't thinking about the past. She was simply moving forward. The company Mia left behind had been built on a reputation of reliability, stability, and long-standing client trust. But in the months after her departure, that image began to crumble, slowly at first, then all at once. No one wanted to admit it, but the truth was unavoidable. The company wasn't collapsing because Mia left. It was collapsing because leadership never understood why she mattered. And now, they were about to pay the full price for that arrogance. The external audit. Investors, now alarmed by months of declining performance, demanded a full-scale external audit. Not a routine check. A forensic-level investigation into client retention failures, mismanagement of high-value accounts, poor restructuring decisions, questionable HR practices. The auditors interviewed everyone, from executives to junior staff. When Evan was questioned, he hesitated at first, then told the truth. Mia wasn't just a manager. She was the pillar of the entire division. Removing her without a plan, it destroyed everything. His voice cracked. Not out of fear. Out of frustration. He had been set up to fail, and everyone knew it. The auditors took notes faster. They weren't just hearing one employee's complaint. They were hearing a systemic breakdown of leadership responsibility. The client testimonials. As part of the audit, the analysts contacted former clients. They didn't expect the intensity of the responses. Client after client expressed the same sentiment. Mia handled everything. You didn't. We trusted her, not your leadership team. When she left, you no longer had value. You replaced quality with cost-cutting, and it shows. One particularly blunt CEO wrote, "Your mistake wasn't losing Mia. Your mistake was not recognizing her importance." That line appeared word for word in the audit report. It became the sentence that haunted the executive team. The board summons the CEO. The board requested an emergency in-person meeting. No virtual excuses, no delays. The CEO entered the room with the confidence he always carried. But unlike before, no one greeted him with polite smiles. Instead, he saw disappointment. And worse, distrust. A senior board member began. "We've reviewed the audit findings. They reveal catastrophic leadership miscalculations." Another added, You removed, or allowed the removal of, the one person holding your most profitable division together. Then a third delivered the final blow. Your restructuring decision was based on cost-cutting models, not operational reality. And now the company is in free fall. The CEO opened his mouth to defend himself, but the chairman cut in. We're discussing replacements. The CEO froze. It was over. Not officially. But everyone in that room knew. The company he once ruled no longer believed in him. Meanwhile, employees unite. Back in the office, something remarkable happened. Departments began to support each other. Not out of loyalty to the company, but out of shared exhaustion with leadership failures. They formed informal networks. People shared job leads. Team members prepared references for one another. Small groups met after work to discuss exit strategies. Some quietly coordinated group resignations. The company, once rigid and hierarchical, now felt like a sinking ship where everyone clung together for survival. And Mia, without even knowing it, had sparked an empowerment movement. Because when she left, she proved something powerful. You don't have to stay loyal to a place that isn't loyal to you. Her story became legend inside the company. A symbol. A rallying point. People whispered her name like a reminder. If Mia walked away and built something better, we can too. Leadership had unintentionally created a martyr. And employees were now following her example. The competitor's meteoric rise. While Mia's former employer unraveled, her new company soared. In the latest industry report, her division was listed as the fastest growing unit of the year. Clients praised her. She listens. She understands our needs. She delivers results. The CEO of the new company pulled her aside after a meeting. You've become our greatest strategic asset, he said sincerely. Your leadership is changing the culture. She wasn't just succeeding. She was transforming the organization from within. Better processes. Better retention. Better teamwork. Her influence was unmistakable. A brutal public moment. The old company's worst moment came on a Thursday morning. An industry magazine published a feature story. How one employee departure sparked a corporate downfall. It didn't mention Mia by name. But the timeline aligned perfectly. Inside the company, employees circulated the article instantly. Leadership tried to downplay it. This is exaggerated. It's sensationalism. But their words carried no weight. Because everyone knew the truth. Mia receives news of the fallout. That evening, Mia's former coworker, one she trusted, sent her a message. You haven't heard this from me. But the CEO is being removed. They're restructuring again. And this time, people are calling it the Mia effect. She stared at the message. Not triumphant. Not bitter. Just reflective. Everything that had happened, all the chaos, all the collapse, had never been her intention. She simply walked away from a toxic system. The system destroyed itself. She closes the chapter. Later that night, Mia stepped out onto her balcony with a cup of tea. The city lights shimmered. The air was calm. Her life was full. Her phone buzzed again. A message from her new CEO. Would you consider hosting a leadership seminar for rising managers? We want them to learn from your approach. She smiled. The company that saw her worth was now asking her to teach others how to lead. And the company that dismissed her? It was learning the hard way that loyalty is not a renewable resource. It must be earned. And once lost, it may never return. Mia didn't defeat them. Their own decisions did. All she did was rise. While her old workplace continued to unravel, Mia's new world expanded in ways she had never imagined. What she thought would be a fresh start turned into something far greater. A platform. A voice. A legacy in motion. And it all began the day she walked into a leadership summit as a guest. And walked out as a phenomenon. The Leadership Summit. Her new company sent her to represent the division she had built. She expected to sit quietly in the audience, take notes, learn from industry veterans. Instead, midway through the event, the moderator called her name. "Mia Collins, would you join the panel? We want your perspective on client loyalty and rebuilding trust." The room's attention shifted toward her. Dozens of heads turned. People murmured. A buzz rippled through the crowd. Mia hesitated for a second, old instincts whispering, "Stay small." But her new path reminded her, "Step forward." She walked to the stage. The moment she sat down, everything changed. Her insights were clear, calm, sharp. Clients don't leave companies, they leave indifference. Recognition is more cost-effective than restructuring. People don't follow titles. They follow consistency. Loyalty is a two-way agreement. Break your side, and you lose theirs. The audience hung on to every word. And just like that, Mia became the voice the industry didn't know it was missing. The industry takes notice. Over the next week, clips of her panel talk went viral across professional circles. Recruiters posted, "Every manager needs to hear what Mia Collins said today." Executives messaged, "Your perspective is reshaping how we think about retention." Employees shared her statements like motivational quotes. "I follow leaders like Mia, not bosses like mine." Her insight resonated because it wasn't theory. It was lived experience transformed into wisdom. She hadn't just survived poor leadership. She evolved because of it. Her new company understands her value. One morning, the CEO asked her to join him in his office. He gestured to a seat, smiling. "Mia, we want you to design and lead a new initiative. Something people will remember." He slid a binder across the desk. Inside, the Mia Collins Leadership Program. Investing in people. Building loyalty. Creating value. She stared at the title, overwhelmed. "You named it after me?" she asked quietly. He nodded. "You earned it. Your philosophy is exactly what this industry needs." For a moment, she couldn't speak. Not because she lacked confidence, but because she finally understood something profound. Everything she had endured built the person sitting here now. Meanwhile, her old company enters freefall. The audit results went public. Stock prices dipped. Analysts downgraded their rankings. Employees flooded job boards. The newly appointed interim CEO held a company-wide meeting to inspire hope. It didn't work. Because hope only exists when leadership has credibility. And this leadership had none. Evan, who had tried so hard to succeed, finally reached his breaking point. He submitted his resignation silently, no fanfare, no explanation. Just exhaustion. On his way out, he told a close colleague, "They didn't set me up to lead. They set me up to replace someone irreplaceable." By now, the Mia effect had become an unofficial term. Internal slang for the consequences of undervaluing talent. It was no longer just a story. It was a warning. The company tries to reach Mia again. One afternoon, while Mia prepared a training module for her new leadership program, she received a call from an unknown number. She ignored it. Then an email arrived. Subject, request for consultation. She opened it. Her former employer was asking if she would consider returning as an external consultant to help stabilize their failing division. They were offering a 5-figure consulting fee. Then 6 figures. Then more. She didn't even finish reading the message. She closed her laptop and whispered, "You can't buy back what you threw away." She didn't send a reply. Silence was her answer. Mia mentors the next generation. Her program launched with overwhelming support. Dozens of new managers signed up. Young employees approached her with questions. People from other companies asked if they could join. Every session she led reinforced something powerful. People wanted to work in environments she designed. People wanted to lead the way she did. People wanted to become the kind of professional she had become. During a workshop, a young woman approached her afterward. "I heard your story, and it gave me the courage to leave a toxic job." "Thank you." Mia blinked, touched. Her story wasn't just survival. It was liberation. For others as much as for herself. Recognition arrives. A prestigious business magazine contacted her. "We'd like to feature you as Leader of the Year." She froze. Her old company never gave her a single award. Here, she was being named a leader for her integrity, clarity, and influence. When the article was published, one line stood out nationwide. Mia Collins isn't just transforming a company. She's redefining leadership in her industry. Her old employer saw it too. Employees screenshotted it. Former colleagues shared it privately. Executives pretended not to notice, but they noticed. The irony was painful. The woman they replaced had become the voice shaping the entire field. Mia looks ahead. The night after the article was released, she walked along the quiet streets of her city. The air was cool. Her heart was steady. Her future felt limitless. She looked up at the tall buildings where she once felt invisible and whispered, "I'm not invisible anymore." Not because she fought for attention, but because she built values so undeniable it illuminated everything around her. Her journey had turned into something more than a story of leaving a toxic workplace. It became a testament to self-worth, a blueprint for others, a revolution in slow motion. And still, her story wasn't over. There was more rising to do, more impact to make, more lives to inspire. She was just getting started. In the months that followed, Mia's ascent wasn't just upward. It was exponential. Her story became something whispered in offices, studied in business schools, and discussed across conference tables. How one undervalued woman reshaped the future of an industry. But for Mia, fame wasn't the goal. Transformation was. Mia's leadership program becomes a movement. The Mia Collins Leadership Program exploded in popularity. Within a year, new managers were required to complete it. Senior leaders voluntarily attended. Other companies asked for licensing rights. Universities requested to include her modules in executive education. What started as an internal initiative had become a national framework for ethical leadership. People no longer debated whether her philosophy worked. They debated how fast they could implement it. Her emphasis was simple yet revolutionary. Respect builds loyalty. Loyalty builds empires. Empires built on fear always fall. The impact of those ideas traveled far beyond her company's walls. Mia receives the call she never expected. One afternoon, her assistant knocked gently on her office door. "There's someone from the Global Business Ethics Council asking for you." She raised an eyebrow. When she answered the call, a representative from one of the world's most influential business organizations spoke warmly. "Mia, your work has set a new standard. We'd like to honor you at our annual summit." Her voice faltered. She wasn't someone who sought the spotlight. But sometimes the spotlight finds you. And she had earned it through resilience, vision, and relentless integrity. Her former company faces its final days. While Mia rose higher, the place she once worked slid further into decline. The interim CEO resigned. The CFO left suddenly. Multiple departments were merged in desperation. Then came the announcement. The company was being acquired. Not triumphantly. Not strategically. As a rescue. Analysts summarized the fall bluntly. Poor management decisions triggered client loss, financial instability, and catastrophic internal turnover. Employees who once felt powerless now saw the truth. The failure wasn't because Mia left. It was because leadership underestimated the cost of losing someone like her. A former coworker messaged Mia privately. "They're calling it the Collins collapse internally. You didn't destroy the company. Their decisions did." But you showed everyone why talent matters. Mia didn't celebrate. She didn't gloat. She simply hoped that future leaders learned from the wreckage. Mia's speech at the Global Summit. Weeks later, she found herself on a massive stage, facing thousands of business leaders from around the world. Cameras flashed. Lights glowed. The audience murmured with anticipation. When she stepped up to the podium, the room fell silent. She didn't speak like someone reciting a script. She spoke like someone who had lived every lesson deeply. When you replace loyalty with cheap labor, you always pay more later. When you ignore quiet excellence, you lose more than an employee. Leadership is not measured in authority, it's measured in the way people rise under your guidance. Then she paused, letting the truth settle. I didn't leave my company because I was weak. I left because they were. And in choosing myself, I discovered the kind of leader I was meant to become. The audience erupted into applause, long, heartfelt, overwhelming. It was a moment that marked the end of one era and the beginning of Mia's legacy. She becomes a symbol for professionals everywhere. As her story continued to spread, something remarkable happened. Employees across industries began to rethink their own worth. Managers reevaluated how they treated their teams. Companies updated retention policies to prevent their own Mia effect. Online, her quotes went viral. Silence is not weakness. Loyalty is earned, not demanded. You don't lose talent, you push it away. People who felt invisible finally saw themselves in her reflection. Mia had become more than a leader. She had become permission. Permission for others to demand better, expect better, become better. The final meeting with her CEO. One late evening, her current CEO sat with her on the rooftop terrace of their headquarters. The city skyline flickered beneath them like a constellation. He turned to her with a genuine smile. Mia, I think you're ready. She glanced at him. Ready for what? To join the executive board. The words sank in slowly. She wasn't just being promoted. She was being invited to shape the future of the entire company. The board, once dominated by seasoned executives, now wanted her. Because her leadership philosophy had become the gold standard. The epilogue, legacy secured. Years later, new hires would hear her story during orientation. How one manager changed the culture of our company. How the Mia Collins Leadership Program began. How we learned the importance of valuing talent. Her old company? It existed only as a cautionary tale taught in business schools. Case study, the cost of undervaluing high-impact employees. One decision destroyed them. One woman rebuilt herself. And one industry changed forever because of it. Mia's last reflection. On a quiet morning, before a major board meeting, Mia stood near a window overlooking the city of her triumphs and trials. She whispered softly, I became the leader I needed when no one supported me. Her journey wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about becoming undeniable. She reclaimed her worth. She built her own future. She inspired thousands. And in doing so, she created something more powerful than success. A legacy that outlived the company that failed to recognize her. Mia had risen. Not because the world finally saw her value, but because she never stopped believing in it herself.